Hey Lee, it's so lovely to see you on camera. Thank you for joining me today. And this is obviously the Midlife Glow Up podcast, and we're just trying to sort of give women as much information. And it's not always about exercise and diet. So I just wanted to like have a little chat with you today about skin and how women can make themselves feel better, really, if they're having a bit of a hard time. So to kick it off, kind of my first question really is like, can you explain when women start to go through like perimenopause, menopause, and their hormones are changing, like what effects does that have on the face and the skin as they sort of approach these hormones fluctuating?
Okay, where do I start? So I think a lot of the time we notice a decrease in volume within our skin. Our skin lacks a lot of luster. We kind of lose that radiance because of our hydration levels are, that they're impacted massively. Like if you start to have like sweats and things like that, our facial fat pads start to decrease, separate, which causes a lot of heaviness around the lower third of the face, makes us quite tired here. Our pigmentation changes as we get older, our skin's tone and texture, the firmness, because our collagen levels drop. So without collagen, we're not producing enough elastin for the skin. And yeah, it just goes on and on really. And that's what we look at daily in the mirror. So it does affect us immensely.
And rude of me to have started off with a question. I didn't actually say introduce yourself. It's because I know you. I'm like,
I know.
So you tell us what you do.
Okay, so I've been in the beauty industry about 26 years now, and for just around about 10 years, I've focused mainly on aesthetic treatments, and I'll do a little bit of teaching as well. So I do a lot of rejuvenation treatments, which is like your anti-wrinkle injection, your dermal fillers, your skin boosters, and your high-end rejuvenational facials as well.
And you've got your own salon.
I've got my own salon. I've got my own salon on the Isle of Sheppey, which is obviously called Beautiful You. And then I've got a clinic room down at Dartford, and I'm there every Tuesday at Dartford. And I also do a monthly little clinic in Sittingbourne as well, at Caribbean Kiss. Yes.
And so going back to like these skin changes, I think sometimes like a lot of women can sort of feel like there's so much going on and they start to maybe lose confidence. So you must see that quite a lot. So what's the most common thing you hear from women that come into your clinic or that call you or contact you on Instagram of that age group?
Yeah, I think the most common thing I hear is I look tired. I just look tired. I look dull. My skin just is dry. And they just don't know what to do to make themselves feel or look better. So that's generally what I get off most women when they walk into my clinic.
Do you think as well, like this is just going off tangent just for a sec, do you think as well, like when we reach that kind of point, we're all quite giving, aren't we, with our families, about like, in my programs, like I try and do a lifestyle self-care, but it almost sometimes feels that little bit selfish, doesn't it? Like,
yeah, we definitely don't put ourselves first. Like, if you're a mum, a wife, just generally a family member, a good friend, I think we always put ourselves last, and then we wonder why we feel so tired. If you feel tired, you're going to look tired. It's easy as, but we're all guilty of putting ourselves last.
Yeah, definitely. So is there any sort of like skincare products or routines that you would recommend, like for women that are maybe feeling that way at the moment?
So if you're tired and your skin's a little bit dry, especially if you are going through midlife changes, then I normally recommend going back to basics, because you're getting to learn your skin again. Your skin's going through all sorts of changes and will continue to go through all sorts of changes until your body is stabilized. So I tend to kind of say to women, go back to basics, get products that have got hyaluronic acid in. It's a natural occurring substance within our bodies. So therefore we recognize it when we use it, and it adds moisture to our skin, or it replaces lost moisture. So you're very unlikely to react to that product. It's kind to our skin and it's really soothing, and it has a really nice plumping effect. And you can get that in, you can get that in your cleansers, you can get that in your toners, and you can get that in your moisturizers.
Yeah, it's not like when you're in your 20s and you go to bed with your full face of makeup, is it?
No, absolutely not. You go to bed with your full face of makeup. You're literally waking up with it in your fine lines and your pores. Not okay. No.
So it is different, isn't it? I suppose.
So different.
I think, as you said, like you can suddenly become, have more breakouts and more allergies and
absolutely, yeah. Like midlife changes, your skin can be highly sensitive. You can get adult acne. People with dry skin can all of a sudden get oily skin. So you can imagine you're used to your skin or your hair or your nails or even your body being what it once was, and this is literally a new version of you. So I feel like you have to take really slow steps in getting to know yourself and your skin again, and that's with everything, like all round.
Yeah, and so lifestyle factors do or must play a huge part in this as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard because midlife, some women suffer with fatigue, they're lethargic, they can't get to sleep. But I think the most important thing, as you would agree, is to keep active, increase your hydration levels. That will stop your skin from drying out. Just keeping active, trying to feel good about yourself. You don't sleep, you don't eat the right stuff, you're going to feel tired, you're going to look tired. And then, we start to lose our self-esteem.
Yeah, that sleep is a massive thing, isn't it? We
hear
too much, but obviously people have like night sweats, so again, will be sort of more dehydrated.
Massively so. And we don't realise how much we sweat. Like once we go through menopause and we start to sweat, we don't realise how much of an impact that has on our skin. So yeah, upping your hydration levels is just, it's a necessity, really.
So going back to kind of what you do, I think the best.
Yeah, thank you.
Aesthetic treatments. So what would you say is the most popular aesthetic treatment? Like I've come
everyone's like, help me,
sort me out. Coming in a complete mess about self-esteem. What's the most common thing you hear?
Okay, so like I said, the most common thing is they're tired, really tired. So I've kind of, my approach to rejuvenation is progressive and not aggressive. I normally set up a treatment plan after I've kind of had a full discussion of lifestyle, what changes are going on within your body, etc., what you're using at home. But I think the most popular treatments in my clinic, so to speak, are, anti-wrinkle injections. You got your skin boosters. Skin boost. Yeah, they're really nice. They're basically like in injectable moisturizers for the skin. So they really target, the mid-dermal layer of the skin. They help to plump the skin, give you a nice natural little lift, just give you back a little something that you've lost. I wouldn't completely say they delay the aging process, but they definitely give you a much more youthful look. So skin boosters are huge at the moment, and you can have them for under the eye area, face area, neck, chest, body. The list is endless with skin boosters. And obviously the risks of complications are a lot lower than, you know, like your dermal filler treatments and things like that, and it gives you a much more natural result.
Yeah, I think that even if it's just to make you feel a little bit better in yourself, so I think that's great. And so, what can you just explain briefly, like the difference between evasive, non-evasive, like what? Because you
Yeah,
hear that quite a lot, and I'm just
you do
like,
here. Yeah, what's it all about? So evasive and non-evasive. Invasive is like no downtime. Non-evasive is no downtime. Invasive is more downtime. So invasive is like the skin being, you know, cut. It's like a more surgical procedure. So you know, if you went for a mini facelift or you know, an eye bag procedure, you're looking at about 2 to 6 weeks downtime, you know, so that's more invasive treatment. It has a lot more post care to it. But saying that, you know, injectable treatments do come under the non-invasive, but a lot of clients do find them invasive, even though, you know, 48 hours roughly is no exercise. You might get mild bruising, etc. But some people do find these sort of treatments, they look at them as invasive, but they don't really fall under that category.
I suppose, like, so for maybe if someone's never gone down this route before,
Yeah,
I suppose it would seem quite scary, wouldn't it? Like,
exactly that. Yeah. Yeah.
at
So it's
first,
quite hard to say that these treatments, I don't think they're invasive, but, you know, some people do find them invasive. That's why it's always best to go and have like a good consultation and etc. And, you know, because some people, they're quite nervous to these treatments.
yeah, and also I suppose speaking to someone to see what's right for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Good consultation.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, what should women look for when if they're thinking, actually, I might, you know, like have a little something. What should they look for in a practitioner? Because you're not going to be obviously local to everybody that this is.
No.
So, what advice would you give someone? Like, I'm thinking of having something done for the first time. What should I be looking for? Because I do think, don't shoot me for this, but there's a lot of charlatans out there.
But that's like in any industry. So it's
Yeah.
really, I suppose it's really hard actually. Obviously, you want someone that's qualified, good qualifications. You need to remember really the beauty industry and aesthetics industry is not actually regulated. So we do a lot of what we can to build up our own kind of regulation within the industry, but it's actually being monitored at the moment. But you want someone that's got good qualifications. You want someone that if they're not a prescriber, they work alongside a prescriber. You want someone that can manage complications and that is trained in complications. You want someone that's insured. You want someone with a good reputation. And you also want someone that will give you a free consultation with no obligation to have the treatment done. You know, everyone should get that cooling off period where they can go away, have a little think about it. If there's any questions that they've missed out or anything they're uncertain about, then they should be able to come back to you and further the consultation, like have another one. So yeah, it's really difficult. Like you said, there's a lot of people out there. I do think the industry is becoming a little bit saturated. So it becomes harder to think, who do I go to? You know, who's right to treat me? So yeah, I think it's always good to have a little look around, do a little bit of research, and you know, recommendations always a good thing. And always make sure they're partnered by a prescriber. And if you are looking into having anything like anti-wrinkle injections, you do need a medical consultation.
Well, it sounds a bit like my industry too.
It's hard, isn't it? Because we're all trying to make a living out there, but it's about safeguarding your clients and yourself as well. So, you know,
You shouldn't be worried, should you, to ask someone about their qualifications?
No, you shouldn't. You shouldn't. They,
You
you know,
need to
they
do your homework.
Yeah, I do agree. Yeah. I think if you've got nothing to hide, then, you know, a client should be able to ask you whatever they need to ask you to feel confident in going ahead with a treatment. Yeah.
And so with like the aesthetic treatments, like I think you must see women come in and feeling like feel a bit rubbish about myself, and then walk out feeling like
Yeah. Yeah, the glow up's real. The glow up is real. Yeah.
And so like how that, you know, it's more that it's not just about the treatment, is it? It's about
No.
confidence, self-belief.
The self-esteem, you know, absolutely. If you go in and have a treatment or you find a treatment that's going to be right for you and you can instantly see a difference, that is completely going to uplift you in every way possible, you know, how you look, how you feel, how you view yourself. You know, yeah, that a lot of people do skip out my clinic relatively.
Luckily.
I know, I love them all. I love doing it. Yeah.
So if you, so what advice would you give to a midlife woman who's struggling with her appearance and feeling a bit flat? And like, what advice would you give?
Just be kind to yourself. You know, your body's going through massive changes, and unfortunately, we've all got to age. We've all got to go through the menopause, and as crap as it is, you know, we're in this together, really. I think it's still a little bit of a taboo that we feel that we can't express how we feel. We can't express that we're having a bad day, you know, and having a bad day is okay. Whatever you've got to do to get through that, whether you want to hide away or put a ton of makeup on or put your sunglasses on, that's okay. Have that bad day, but then every day is a new day. And I just think take some time out for yourself, treat yourself, make yourself a priority, and then you'll feel better. Even if it's buying a new cleanser or spending a little bit more time that evening, you know, with your beauty regime, just making time for yourself. And if you feel you need like if you feel you need a consultation, you haven't got to go ahead with any treatments, but see what's out there for you. You know, confide in someone. Why do you feel like that? What's making you feel like that? And if there's anything that can help you feel just generally better in yourself.
So this wasn't in, like, obviously we discussed questions, and this wasn't in the questions, but I'm just throwing this at you anyway because it's just something that all plays a big part in our lives.
Yeah.
Social media. Okay.
Love it, don't we?
Well, love it, hate it, whatever. Do you think there's a pressure on women, midlife women, to maybe, like, I'm not being funny, how many people frown nowadays, right? Not many.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think, you know, God, there's so much pressure. Like, you are dealing with all these hormone fluctuations and the perimenopause, menopause, whatever. And then you're on social media and everyone is kind of, you know, if you're going to have the treatments, have them. If they're going to make you feel better, 100% do it. But as well, like, you know, it is what it is. So do you think there's like almost sometimes an unrealistic pressure on women to look a certain way, which is they can sometimes feel worse about themselves?
Yeah, massively. You know, social media, you've got so many filters and, you know, massively. So even as I feel quite glad that I never had all this social media when I was younger. I never had that pressure. Like our kids now, or the youngsters, you know, they do feel that immense pressure because there's so many filters on social media. There's so many different products. There's such high expectations how we should look a certain way. No wonder why we are hard on ourselves, just generally as a whole. There's a massive stigma with social media. Social media can be amazing. You know, it's how I got my business going is from social media, but I know the impact that it can have on everyone, you know, women included. I feel that you should do what you want to do. own it if you feel confident enough to own it. I don't think you need to lie about it, but I also don't feel you need to tell the world about it either. So I'm kind of like in the middle with it all. I just think if you don't want to discuss the treatments you've had, then don't, because it's no one's business. But I just don't think you need to lie about it, because I think if you're saying that you've never had a treatment done and it's clear to us all that you have, again, that's just putting pressure on people about looking a certain way and why they don't look that way. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. As you say, there is so many filters, and I think that it's a double-edged sword, isn't it? I have to use social media for my business,
of course,
as you do. But on them days, maybe say if I'm feeling a little bit pants about myself, like, because we all do it, and you are on there, and you're like, oh.
Absolutely. Yeah. I just think, you don't have to be open about the treatments, but a lot of people know when you've had them. It's quite obvious in the respect, if you've not got a lot of movement here, then, it's quite obvious if you're hitting your 40s and 50s and you've got no movement there, that you've had an aesthetic treatment. Just say to people, like, I'd rather not discuss it. I just think saying no is a little bit, I know you've had something done.
Like no movement at all.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But yeah, whatever, it's like whatever makes you feel good.
You do you. You do you, boo. That's what I say,
100%, I love that. So women need to approach this with a positive mindset, okay? Like, if it's going to make you feel better, go for it.
Yeah.
And as you say, you do you. So is there anything that women can maybe start today? They've listened to this podcast today. They may be feeling, actually my skin is a bit tired, or it's changing, or what can they start today to make them feel better about themselves?
Just generally making time for themselves, upping your hydration levels. So water, good skincare, make sure you cleanse, tone and moisturize day and night, and you will feel a noticeable difference. Be careful with your products. If your skin is fluctuating, you're getting to know your skin again. Be very careful with products. And as a woman, we love a nice branded bottle. We like a nice smell. We use it for a week or two and think that's rubbish. Skincare products can take up to 12 weeks before our skin gets used to them. So I always feel that's a really good tip to let people know. Just be kind to themselves. Take a bit more time. Once a month, take a little bit of time out for you. Go and have that nice facial, because it will make you feel better. It will help to, even out the skin's tone and texture. It will help to, you'll just feel lifted generally with your well-being. So definitely take some time out for you.
Yeah, so actually, if you're listening to this and thinking, I don't agree with injectables, or I don't want to go down that road, just having a facial can make all the difference.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can speak to your therapist about your skin concerns. They will be able to see generally your skin concerns. Even as we age, once our skin thins out a bit, even like our vessels and capillaries, they all become a little bit more visible. There's lots of different treatments that you can have that don't involve injectable treatments. There's lots of good facials out there that you can have, like radio frequency. There's lots. Facial yoga, that really lifts our muscles, tones our muscles, helps contour our face. So there's lots of different treatments out there. So I would absolutely say every 4 to 6 weeks, do something for you.
Yeah, and then that way as well, again, I suppose you're finding out more about what your skin's going to respond to and what's going to make you feel better.
Yeah, it's about re-educating yourself, isn't it? Midlife changes. It's getting to know ourselves again, definitely.
And giving yourself a little bit of self-compassion and looking after yourself just that little bit more to make you feel better. So we're going to wrap this up. You were amazing. Where can people find you, Lee?
Where can they find me? So Sheerness, Sittingbourne and Dartford mainly, yeah.
And Instagram?
Yeah, they can find me on Instagram. So I've got my own aesthetics account, which is Beautiful You UK, and then I've got Beautiful You Salon. So yeah, on Facebook it is exactly the same as well. Yeah, so you can find me
I'll
there.
post links to your page.
Yeah, that'd be great. And obviously, if anyone's got any concerns, they can give me a few messages and I'll get back to them, probably with a voice note, because it just takes me ages to text now. So I'm kind of into the voice notes now. So you'll get like a little voice note from me. But like I said, consultations are free. And yeah, if I can help anyone out there, and even as silly as what you may feel, the questions you've got, don't feel like that. Just get in touch, really.
Oh, that's amazing. And it is just about sort of, as you say, just trying to make, with all these changes going on, just trying to like boost your self-confidence and boost your self-esteem. Like
Yeah.
there are quite a few ways to do that.
Yeah, I do agree. Yeah, definitely.
Thank you, lovely.
Thank you very much.